Welcome to Forever Unbreakable. Again, I'm the host, Will Koken. Tonight, I am joined by one of my great friends, Cody Rivenes. Cody has called me on numerous occasions to bail him out of some trouble, most of which deals with his motorcycle. So, potentially talk about some of that tonight. But Cody's got a few motorcycle crashes from thinking he knows how to ride wheelies on crotch rockets, and now actually has his super motard for sale,
You're embarrassing.
or whatever it's called, hyper motard.
We'll just
That's
say
what it is.
Ducati.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
sounds rich.
yeah. One of those
It
things.
sounds white boy rich.
So, Cody, you want to talk about one of those motorcycle crashes here to start?
No, actually, this is my show. I forgot to tell you before we started. We kind of did a little pre-talking before we got down here, and one of the things I mentioned to Will is what getting on here was going to mean to me, and that a lot's been going through my head on getting on here. I've been watching a couple of the episodes and seeing my friends on here, and people I don't know, and watching how they take this. And so when Will said, "Hey, you're going to be on, come on over," I thought just hanging out with my buddy and let's do this. We're going to record some cool stuff. We'll talk and it'll be fun, super joyful, yada yada. But something hit me. Did a lot of self reflection and kind of took something serious, which is not my normal.
It's a little rare. It's a little rare. You
It's
can
my
say it's rare.
it's my not my forte, but this means a lot. Coming on here and Will Koken, one of my good friends, and a lot of the things he does, I get into. I stand behind him.
Dude, you have since day one, man. As long as I can
I'm
remember
your
you.
cheerleader. I
Yeah.
feel like I've been a cheerleader, and so I took it as a privilege to come on here. So I've done this interview 20 times, 30 times in my head in the last 2 weeks. Trying to go through. You have your list and your normal Will Koken. All right, this is what we're going to talk about,
Yeah.
and points, and we're going to do that. And I'm like, okay. So I started thinking about them, and voila, a lot of self reflection came out of this. That God, I can't.
Yeah. So, when's the last time you think that you looked back at the life of Cody and did a self evaluation where you talked to yourself and thought, hey, this is where I'm at in life. This is where I expected to be at this age, and this is where I want to be at this age. So now, what am I going to do? When's the last time that you did a self evaluation? You think?
It's sad to think, but it's at those moments. Cancer, Baghdad.
Yeah.
It takes big moments for my type of personality and my brain to do that day to day. And for God, I can't think of the last time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Even with Remy, when we were getting ready to have a kid, I thought about it and I'm like, all right, this is going to happen. And so there was some thought there. I need to get bills paid. I need to be ready to be financially stable for my kid. But that's it's a different thing than an actual self-evaluation. And man, I talked to myself for
Yeah,
the
but
first time in years. That, like, really, I interviewed myself, and I did all this by myself. And I can't think of in my adult life when I have done a real self-evaluation, some house cleaning, and some
feels good though,
digging.
doesn't it? Feels great, doesn't it? Take some weight off the shoulders and
For me, it's weird. It's a new thing. I'm very impulsive. I don't
super
plan.
impulsive.
Super impulsive. I don't plan. I don't think things through, really. I mean, when I want something, I go get it. I make it happen, and that's my point, and I'm one tracked on
Yeah.
the dot like that. I'm not a big picture guy. Never have been, but now that I'm getting a little bit older and I'm a family man now, some self-reflection, I think, did me a lot of good. So this podcast, this thing that you're starting here, that we're in your basement right now, and it's a small thing, has fuck,
It's,
opened up my little world. Like
yeah,
I feel
and it's doing that
not
for a lot of people. So like the one thing that I want to say right now is, as people are starting to listen to this, is like, take some time today when you're listening to this, even if you've got to pause this video right now, take the time and do a self-evaluation. What if you had to go on a podcast about being unbreakable and looking at what's next in your life and where you want to be and where you came from? Like, take the time, today or tomorrow, to sit down and do that. And then like you did and were telling me before we started this tonight, is that you talked to your wife Sharon about it. And that's something, if you have a significant other or somebody close to you, share that. Get some of that weight that you've been carrying and not even thinking about off of your chest. And I think that's big. And that's something that I picked up from you upstairs, Cody. And I know that after this today, I'm going to sit down and reevaluate my life again, where this podcast is going or business is going, the charity is going, and things like that. So I think that that's a huge thing that needs to be emphasized to everybody, because you didn't think about it. If this podcast didn't start, would you have done a self-evaluation over the last 2 weeks?
absolutely not, because it's I'm a real person.
Yeah.
Like and the people that we've been seeing on the podcast are real people. They're not, we don't have superhumans. Not saying that anybody that, Jason, we've had Sody on here, like Sody's killing it out there.
But through
But
hard
I
work.
know him.
Through
I
hard
know
work, he
him,
got there.
and I that's my guy. I've
Yeah.
seen him put in the hard work. He's not invincible. It's a real person that I can associate with. And when I hear a real person that I know have weaknesses and evaluations of themselves, I can relate to that. I can't relate to these guys that are, biking across the entire country for
Yeah.
3 months, and that it doesn't seem real to me. I see it, and they're an awesome role model,
It seems inhuman. It
and
seems
it
like they're
motivates me.
Yeah.
I'm very short term memory. I'm a squirrel, man. It's what. So those things are cool, but they're a 5 minute fad. They're oh cool. Somebody's setting this record for that. So when you see your friends and your peers doing this, and you want to match that, you want to have some sort of smart answer, like not come on here and blabber like an idiot and I don't know, like I do cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like I
And you
really
do great, and you do great things. You've done a ton, and we'll get into a lot of that, and those accomplishments and things. But it's
when I say
yeah,
like I said, my
But
show.
it's
Did we get to the motorcycle stuff yet? Not yet.
we can
Okay.
skip the motorcycle stuff. Cody's crashed a couple times. I've picked him up, road rash everywhere.
Yeah,
It's been great.
it happens.
All before cancer. I don't think you put one down after cancer. Oh, you did put one down after cancer.
Boxcar Billies.
That's right. That
Second
was
gear
after,
wheelie into the turns, and
that was after cancer.
it's Unbreakable. Guy with a fake hip and femur went down pretty hard, and
Yeah.
I didn't break. My bike broke, and Will had to put it in the back of a pickup truck, but I
And then
didn't
you were
break.
back to riding again as soon as we could get it fixed.
You can't fix stupid.
No.
But yeah, stuff like that. Because another thing, I'm going to interrupt before you get to another question.
Yeah.
Unbreakable. It's things like that,
Get back up. Get right back on the bike.
I
Don't let it fear.
seeing the guys that have come on here. You guys are talking about your ruck thing coming up with the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm going to be there.
Yeah,
I've been
absolutely.
there
You're the
for,
scale guy, man. You
I've
have
been
to
there
be
for the Ironmans. I'm your cheerleader, and I'm cool with that. I don't have that ability, and during this self-reflection, that's one of the big things that hit me is I lost the ability. I used to be a pretty physical guy, PT stud. I
Dude,
used to have it.
one of the best.
And it was a self-realization of that's gone. That's gone, homie. You guys are, we've dipped me into it a little bit of physical things.
Dude, yeah,
And
you did the Bellin with the pack on. You're talking about doing the 20 mile for the who are walking, actually
of course
walking it.
that's a given, but and
So
a lot of the stuff on here is, Unbreakable, and a lot of it goes to
yeah,
physical moments. Sodi got into his PGA training and doing some mental
hmm
unbreakable
yeah,
things, and that doesn't fit for me anymore. So I have to explore other means.
dude, and
You
that's
know,
why I wanted to have you on here so bad, is to open up another aspect of
yeah,
Unbreakable, because your Unbreakable story is arguably greater than any of the ones that we've heard on here, because of what you went through from being. And let me paint this picture for a second. Cody was the guy who was the front runner at everything. So me and my competitive nature always wanted to beat Cody, but I never could. Cody always did one more push up than me, or one more sit up, or ran the 2 mile faster in the Army. Cody made it to sergeant before I made it there. So like, Cody was an achiever. He was the top 1% of guys that you work with. And then one day, cancer happened, lost a hip and femur. And like, to go from being that high, that strong, and that good down to here, that's one of the aspects of life that I look at as where you became unbreakable. And why I wanted to bring it on here so bad is because that is, from a mental aspect, far greater than carrying a rucksack for a marathon.
and that's kind of where my brain's been going. Not say that
Yeah,
is, this whole time, like I said, this has been running through my head. You have no idea how much self-reflection. Like, it's crazy for me to go through this in my head, and not in a crazy person way, but talk to myself,
yeah,
interview myself, and go through some things that I haven't thought about ever, and have some real self-realization of, man, Cody, you're not Sergeant Rivenes. You're not in Iraq. You're not in the Army anymore. You can't go and run with these guys. I can't go play football. I can't CrossFit.
yeah,
I can't do these things anymore. But that's okay. I that was one of the bigger breakthroughs for me, is it's okay.
yeah.
And another big thing that got stuck in my mind is define unbreakable.
What is unbreakable to you?
What is unbreakable to me? Man, I told you I talked to Sharon about this today at lunch, which, first off, this was supposed to be one of my first things, is thank you for having me on here. And because, like I
You're
said, I've
welcome.
already done this interview.
Yeah,
Things are getting
it's the
moved
Cody
down.
show. It's the Cody show.
We're getting moved around a little bit off my schedule, but this all relates somehow in my weird brain that I am
Yeah,
discovering me at 33 years old. A lot of self-discovery, but
that's awesome though. Like, that's great.
talking to my wife about it. What is unbreakable? And sitting there today and looking in her eyes and having her give me her point of view on unbreakable, and then having her feedback on her views on me. Man, it hit me. It was a lot to take in, and that's a really cool thing to do, is to sit down with your wife that you do day to day, take care of the baby. We got a lot going on in life right now,
Yeah,
work. You don't sit, and it's been a while since I've talked to my wife like that and had some heart to heart
I mean, that's a deep conversation. It's a deep question to ask.
over a word,
Yeah,
a word, and a podcast in my best friend's basement.
yeah, that's awesome.
So that's why I'm saying this is really open, and it's a big thing for me. But we got talking and hearing what she thought, and it was really cool because same shit.
Yeah,
What she was saying to me was, when somebody's talking, you're thinking of something next to say, or you're thinking what you're thinking, and
hmm
I do. I have a hard time listening. I'm always thinking of the next thing to say or something like that. But she was saying what I thought. I mean, she's like, what is unbreakable? Define it. It's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Man, unbreakable is a shit ton of things. And my first thought before I ran it by her was, I'm like, Will's not going to like my answer.
I love it because it's honest. It's from the heart. And that's
like,
what I want.
Unbreakable isn't a thing.
Yeah.
It's not. Everybody breaks. Everybody quits.
Something.
You may be unbreakable for this month.
Yeah.
That's your New Year's resolution, is to be unbreakable. That's what you'll follow for then. But then myself was interviewing myself, and I started thinking of more things, and I'm like, damn, you are one contradictive son of a bitch. Because then I'm like, unbreakable, like Sodi said in his episode, something's in your blood.
Yeah.
You either got it or you don't. And my thoughts on that are kinda, it's in your blood, but I relate that to you're born with it. You're just a badass born with it. And I don't think that's what he was going to, but experiences. Being broken
makes you
unbreakable.
Absolutely.
Like, I had no idea what I was or what you could lose until you lose it. I mean, being 21 and losing your health.
It's that hitting rock bottom that Sodi said.
And that's, when he said losing for him is rock bottom. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. My rock bottom was the cancer thing and losing the health.
Yeah.
Not making it big or anything like that, but to be 21 and to be considered myself a little stud.
Yeah,
to lose your health.
You went from maxing the APFT run.
Everything. I was a 3. I was over the board. I was a 330 PT.
So tell everybody what the day that what happened that day. What you were doing. Like, paint the picture of the day that you kind of found out you had cancer. I mean, you had gone to the VA for pain, but you were still maxing the PT test.
Yeah, luckily it was a slow growing tumor, but I kept going in for back pain, and I was a 50 cal gunner overseas, so
sitting in the turret on a seat buckle, basically.
Back pain, yeah, I get it. Like, cool, yeah. I'm 21, I'm invincible. Kept going. Hey, take some Tylenol. Anyways, not getting too embellished on it, but come to find out, I'm sitting at a buddy's house in a chair just like this, and just hanging out one day. And all of a sudden I turn and pop, and didn't know what the heck it was. I'm like, did you guys hear that? Like, yeah. What the hell was that? That was weird. And I ended up turning just a little bit more and hit a nerve. I stood up. Like, my body made me stand up. Something weird fucking happened. And next thing, I'm down on the ground looking at my ankle.
I mean, you broke the hardest bone in the body to break.
Well, I didn't break it.
Yeah, cancer broke it.
Yeah, I didn't do shit. I just showed up.
Broke your femur.
So yeah, I had a tumor that was growing in my leg that was killing my bone, and my bone turned into an eggshell, and the tumor was pressing against my sciatic nerve, giving me that pain.
Yeah. And
it just snapped. Like a twig. I mean, it was they did x-rays, and it was an eggshell. It was nothing left. It ate and killed my bone. So went to the hospital, and all right, cool, I have a broken leg. Let's fix that first. And I remember the first doctor going, yeah, we're going to give you some pain meds, and we're going to release you, blah, blah, blah. And this is after they reset it and everything. I'm like, you're fucking high. I'm like, I was looking at my own ankle just like that. I'm like, nah, let's.
Yeah.
So I threw a fit, got another doctor to come in, and threw me through all these x-rays and a lot of pain, passing out, yada, yada, yada. And getting knocked out. I kept passing out. Something was hitting in my nerve, and it was just blowing me out. So woke up the next day, and there's Mom. My mother, who lives in Texas, is in Green Bay, Wisconsin, in a matter of 6 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm a 21-year-old grown ass man. I just broke my leg. No, no need for you here, woman. And
And we love you, Mom.
hey, cool. What are you doing here? But no, honestly, I was like, I'm a grown ass man. It's a broken leg. What? Why is mommy here? And didn't think anything of it. And 15 minutes later, doctors come in, and boom. That's what I am today. Is happened in that 15 minutes of
Yeah,
you.
what went through your head when they told you that you had cancer?
Oh God,
Like,
it's
what can you remember from that day?
embarrassing. But I guess it's natural, and it's the truth, and it's what happened. I
I mean, at 21, you think it's impossible. You think you're
Yeah,
invincible. I mean, you were invincible. Like,
yeah. I guess one of the first things was no, just no,
yeah,
not me. But the second thing was, why me? I'm not a religious guy, but karma. I do believe in karma. And I'm like, what did I do? I'm 21. I just got back from Iraq. I joined the
yeah,
army when I was 17 years old. I do some hood rat shit, but like, I'm a good person.
yeah.
What did I do to deserve this? And I'm embarrassed, but that was my thing, is trying to get reasoning for why this happened to me. And what did I do? You had
Yeah.
to do something to get cancer. You deserve this. You
So,
know,
so how do you feel about that now as you look back at it? As you've had this time over the last 2 weeks to kind of like reflect on life. When you look back at how you felt then, that why me? You know,
I think that's why I say I'm embarrassed. Like, if that was my first thought of why me. I during my chemo and my radiation, the type of cancer I had was pediatric, so I did my chemo with a bunch of kids.
yeah,
Oh, fuck. Do I feel like an idiot now going, why me? When doing chemo next to a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old that
especially now
has,
that you have a child that's just over a year.
yeah, that has no idea what the hell is going on. I'm a grown man that wants to question why these things happen. And, it's going through a lot of the self evaluation and things. You go, it is what it is, like the cards are on the table. That's what got played. And, I wouldn't have met Sharon. I
Yeah,
wouldn't have Remy.
yeah.
It's sidetracked because this is going to be a lot. My ADD going back to
No, it's good though. Go back.
the definition of unbreakable.
Yeah,
And I told Sharon, I'm like, everything I kept asking myself through these interview questions, I'm like, something's wrong with my brain. But I'm like, I keep circling back to family, to Remy. It's mostly Remy.
yeah,
Having a kid now. Fuck, what is unbreakable? Unbreakable is not giving up and wanting to be better. In my head, like, unbreakable has nothing to do with wanting to be better. But to me, that is like unbreakable. I'm gonna be a good fucking dad. That's unbreakable. It's a mindset. It's a mentality.
yeah.
It's not every day.
Children are tough. Like, I don't have my own kids, but there is no argument that children are difficult. They'll keep you up late at night. There's you constantly changing diapers and stuff, and then you've got to teach them things. Their whole life. Like, you're developing them. There's nothing easy about that. So to remain focused and to have that be your drive is very much an unbreakable thing. People look at this forever unbreakable, or the word unbreakable is like, I need to be the toughest guy in the room. I need to be the strongest guy in the room, and that's not always the case, right? An unbreakable person is the guy or girl who gets up and does what needs to be done
Yeah, or
every day
not
to
a
stay alive.
a physical
Yeah.
attribute because you guys there's a lot of physical attributes, and like I said, I'm out of that game.
Yeah.
You know, I did the 20-mile ruck, which was great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you know, I think it's like in your blood, you build up through these experiences, but it's something that does get built into you. Being
It's in your brain.
unbreakable is a building thing. You know, it's not to. I've always been cocky, but during my life, like I guess I've had it easy just because of the way my brain works. That you know, like when Sodi was going to PJ school,
Yeah.
and you know, one of my motivating things for him and what I truly believe in talking to him is going, you're not that guy, man. You're one of us. You're the you guys mentioned
Yeah.
alpha males.
The alpha males.
When you go to PJ school, it's not going to be if you finish. It's going to be how well you do. Like when I went to boot camp, when I do
Yeah.
these these things in my life randomly here and there, it's not if I'm going to fail. That literally isn't in the vocabulary. It's I've never worried about failing. I've always worried about how well I'm going to place. You know, when I went to boot camp at 17, even then when I was young, I'm like, I'm going to fucking kill this.
Yeah.
And, you know, they opened up an airborne slot and they're like, hey, top 3 PT test in the battalion, get an airborne slot. Yep, I'm not going to try to get a 300 on my PT test. I'm not going to try to, man, I hope I don't fail a PT test.
Yeah.
It was, how well am I going to do? Can I'm focused on getting that. And I did.
Yeah. You always looked at the top of the list. You never looked at what are the bottom numbers that I need to pass. It was always what are the numbers that I need to max.
So I guess that's one of the bigger things in the Unbreakable is, man, it's a mentality. It's a lifestyle.
You're still a type A person. You go to work because we've had this conversation, right? When you started at Apex, you and Chris started at the same exact time. Generally, right? Chris started maybe a month or two before
2
you.
months, something like that.
But your goal when you first started there was to get to a point where you would be better than Chris.
Yeah.
Like you're like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to be better than Chris.
And Chris is a great guy. He just happened to be that guy that
Love
was in
Chris.
front of me.
Yeah.
But that's, you know,
Or
I hear the word grind,
yeah.
and I laugh at that sometimes because I see the people that grind, and then I see those same people with a lot of cheat days. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like, you are one of the few people that I know actually fucking grind.
Be consistent.
You put the hours in. You wake up. You do and it's not just for a month or 2 months. You know, your grind is a habit. You know, it's something you do day in and day out. Dude, I don't grind. I don't grind nothing. I mean, I have easy days at work.
And hard days at work.
I have days at work that I bust my ass. And, I throw in a 16, 18-hour day, and I put work in. I know I'm capable of it. So I have days that I supposedly do this grind, but people that are not, I'm thinking of the normal person. Like, everybody has life. Life is a lot more than it happens in between Unbreakable.
Correct.
You know,
absolutely.
Unbreakable is events.
Yeah, single events. It's a choice. It's a choice. You know, is what I think is like, because I look at Unbreakable as life or death, right? So on the grand scheme of things, if you haven't taken your life yet, like if you haven't committed suicide, you are currently unbreakable, plain and simple. Because you could take what is potentially the easy answer and kill yourself and have it all be over, you know, on a bad day, because we all have bad days. Or you can choose to get up and live life and go through life and deal with a bad day and look at tomorrow being a new day, or the next minute, like, hey, I'm going to change my life starting 1 minute from now. You know, and you have that choice. And that's, to me, that's unbreakable. And that's where, you know, when I watched you go through cancer, you could have quit. There's times where I looked in your eyes during the early parts of cancer when you were up here before you had moved down to Texas. And I thought to myself, I'm like, Cody is one of the toughest people on the planet right now, because he is in so much fucking pain. And
I was hurting.
You could have quit. Like, you could have quit. You got access to more guns than anybody I know. You had them then too. Like it's not any different, right? You could have gone home one night and quit.
And that's weird because I try to think about it, and I just the thought never. A lot of things crossed my mind,
Yeah.
and that just wasn't one of them. You know,
So you
I'm
can't.
stupid
Yeah.
competitive. Like, I don't know what I was trying to set a record for, like being cured of cancer the fastest, or I remember being in the hospital
And how
and
long did you go through the chemo treatment for?
9 months of chemo, 6 months of radiation. So it was a
And then you had
long.
to learn to
It's
walk again.
Yeah. So the chemo I went through, I had a small cell cancer, and they had to do a full body chemo, which means my cancer was cooler than yours or your friends. The chemo they gave me was no joke. I mean, it damn near killed me. I mean, that's what the normal chemo does. But
Yeah,
because
and
it was a small cell, they can't localize on your liver, your kidneys, your butthole, whatever kind of cancer you have. They got to kill everything. Hence my baldness now,
yeah,
being sterile, some of the long-term effects, thyroid issues.
and they put you on a bunch of drugs that led to a mild amount of what I would call drug addiction. Because
Oh
I
yeah,
remember you coming off of the drugs, like,
twice, 3 times.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it's full blown drug addiction. So not only did you have to survive cancer, but then you had to go through detox
yeah, that was
3 times. When you look back at like how many times you could have broke, like truly broke, and
I
just
did
ended it
break.
all,
That's the thing is, I
in a sense, but in another sense, you didn't break, right? You broke to a level where you found that, as we talked about earlier in this episode, where you found that rock bottom. Like, this is the lowest point in my life,
yeah, a couple times.
and you
'Cause
chose not to let it get any lower.
yeah, it's well, I guess God, this is so squirrel and thing, but like
Yeah, yeah.
Unbreakable,
Let it go. Let it go.
Unbreakable is your family.
Yeah,
Unbreakable is your friends. Nobody, of course, there is somebody. There's always that one asshole, but nobody is unbreakable by themselves.
no, it's a support
You
system.
you don't do what you do by will. You don't.
No, I have everybody around me. I have you. I
So
have you in my corner, 100%, cheering me on, making sure that I continue on my
that's
dream. You care more about me accomplishing my goal than you do about your own goal. You put off projects in your house to come over here and help me work on my house, and I can't thank you enough. And it's one of the reasons why you stood up in my wedding, why you'll always be one of my very best friends, is that you will give the shirt off your back to make sure that I am happy. And honestly, and I hope that I repay that to you in the extent that I can.
you
But
have flooring a little bit.
yeah,
You're
a
still
little bit of
60,
flooring.
67 hours behind on your
I have
due
a feeling
payment.
it's more than well over 100. But
So yeah, that kind of went into my self reflection because I couple down parts of doing self reflection is looking at yourself and your accomplishments and where you're at and judging against your peers. And
talk about,
there's a
or as you get into that, also talk about the judging against your peers, like what that's done for you mentally.
I don't want to name any names, but no, yeah, self reflection. You start looking at your peers. That's the
Yeah.
closest group to go. This is something I don't do, so I don't know how to do it. I'm not good at it. So it just what popped in my head. I'm like, all right, I got some friends that kid, good job. They're at this point in their life, and they're the same age as me, and they got a nicer house. They got a this, they got a that, and I go, I can respect that. That's cool. They're on the right path. What can I do to get to that point? And then I look at some other guys, and I go, man, they're killing it. They're knocking it out of the park. Great job, good money, but they don't have a Remy. They don't have a Sharon.
They don't have the support system either.
They don't.
That's at that
They
level.
don't have. Man, I feel kind of bad for them. Like I think of that, and I'm like, I'm. I think I'm a pretty cool dude, but man,
You're a super cool dude.
now that I have my daughter, and I like that's my first, like, don't get me wrong, I love my wife, I love my family, my friends, but until Remy, man, life changer.
Yeah.
I fucking love that little human being beyond words.
Dude, and that
And
has made you more unbreakable than ever before. Because think about it, you'll do whatever it takes to
yeah,
make Remy happy.
I guess that's
You know, like you will go to the end of the earth if if that's what you needed to do, and it's what you see. It's why your mom was in Green Bay 6 hours later.
that God that
You know what I mean? You will
one
go to the end of the earth. You will be unbreakable for your child. Like you see it so many times. You watch and you see these stories on Facebook and Instagram, the positive stories, not that negative bullshit that's all over there as well. But you see these positive stories of a parent trying to find a kidney for their kid or something like that, right? And going to the ends of the earth.
yeah,
Like that's I look at those stories and I'm like, that's unbreakable. And that's where you're at. It's one of the reasons why you're sitting here on the podcast right now is so that that message can get passed on to people that are, like you said, unbreakable doesn't exist. I'm broken. I've broke. But
yeah,
really, in another aspect, you're so much more unbreakable than I am in another aspect. It's stupid. In that aspect, I'm broke. You know, and you're unbreakable. Whereas in this, it's the exact opposite. So it's like if that's your
which is
parent,
great because it can mean whatever it wants to mean to anybody.
and
Take
that's
it.
and that's
You're
what I love about it.
unbreakable because it's more. I don't want to.
No, go
It
ahead.
sounds me because just right now the focus is on the ruck. That's not what makes you unbreakable.
No, that's one thing.
That's
Yeah,
minuscule.
yeah.
But the fact that you grind, the stuff you do for the charity, the stuff
There's
that you do as a human being, it's I can always call on you. Like, and what you do day to day, just that's unbreakable. It just happens you do some cool shit on the side
yeah, but it's
that a
one
lot of
step
people wouldn't do.
in front of the other. That's what I tell myself. Just take one step in front of the other. Live one more second. Live one more minute. Like do something for somebody else. And that's my unbreakable. That's where my heart and soul is. You know, and your heart and soul and your unbreakable is Remy. Like you will do anything for her.
Yeah, because it's a learning. She's almost 14 months now, and that's one thing I'm learning is, and I thought about is the unbreakable for me, just because of how I am. I'm a normal dude. I go to work, I come home.
Yeah.
I don't have time for unbreakable 7 days a week. I just don't. There's so much normal off time of I just got work, man.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff is wavering.
But you do more than just work because you do a bunch for the charity. Like you go out and you do a ton of work for the charity, more than you'll ever give yourself credit for. You know, and that's important. You know, it's important to me. It's important to many many people, and that takes that energy and effort that maybe you're not giving it every day,
Yeah, and that's what I
but
looked at is
you know,
the core. I'm military, so core
yeah,
values, and we got them at work. That's one of the things I love working for Apex is Jason has this company built, and it has some military values to it, and I can get with that.
yeah. And I
Some
think
core
Troy,
values.
and I think Troy has taken a lot of ownership into those values
Oh
as
God,
well.
he's killing
And
it.
I see it in the cold snap stuff because I was just working with him today on one, and you can see it's awesome to see where his passion is with that program as well now. And for those of you guys that don't know, Cold Snap is where we take and put furnaces in veterans' homes through Apex, where Cody works and Jason, who was on here. And they do a ton of giving back to the veteran organization through furnaces and furnace upgrades and things like that. That it's remarkable, you know, and it's cool to see with those values that those values have led them to a program that gives back so much to that community, you know, and to the local community here. So
Yeah,
I think
huge.
that's huge, you know,
Yeah,
and that's those
that's
values.
that's my therapy. I got
Yeah,
lucky throughout the cancer, Iraq, losing a friend, going through that stuff is hurt me. But I guess I've always compared it to other people. Like I look at myself as a veteran that got shot at, blown up, all the fun stuff, and then I look at a Vietnam veteran And
Yeah.
I always, what I went through is a joke. I always look at it and I can not justify having issues because of other people that you hear their stories and you're like, damn, you went through that
And you're
and
still
you're
alive.
okay.
Yeah. And you're not
I
collecting disability.
would be embarrassed to say I have issues when these badass dudes that have seen some real shit are fine.
Yeah.
So, but being with Hua and through Apex, it's my therapy. I don't have like big issues, but
Dude, because you hated your life when you were working at the pizza crust place.
oh god, yeah,
Like, you would just come and just bitch and bitch and bitch. And you weren't like, I still loved you, but you could just tell, like, you were not happy with life.
yeah.
And you finally took a leap because it took you a while
To make the jump,
to
yeah,
make the jump, but you finally took that leap. And since then, you can see in your life that you live a happier,
god, yeah.
more productive, more successful life.
At that time, I wish I had what I did in the last 2 weeks and
Yeah.
just sat down and fucking talked to myself. I would have saved myself a lot of trouble,
Yeah.
because I've had ups and downs. Everybody has ups and downs in their life, cancer kicked my ass even years after it was gone. I'm still recovering from it. It's a long term
Well, and the
thing.
thing with your hip and femur is at some point they have to be replaced.
Yeah, but that's easy
Like,
peasy.
but
Talking up here, man.
yeah.
That's
But I mean, that's going to be another painful process where you're gonna be forced to go on medication again.
Yeah,
And that's going to lead you back down a very painful process. And the one thing that I think, from talking to you tonight as well as knowing you, is that when you get to look at Remy's face during that,
yeah,
it's going to make it easier for you to push. And that push is going to get you through the process easier. And, as we talk about people that don't have that support system around them, like, I'm successful or unbreakable because of the support system around me, my parents, my wife, my friends.
absolutely.
Like I have that support system that makes sure that I'm never able to get down, and those people that don't have that support system around them, like, I hope that, through this podcast that we're able to provide that to them, or find them a way to build some support and or look at things differently to have that support and be able to move forward in a direction that they want, whether it be, being a better parent, going to the ends of the world for your child, son or daughter, whatever it might be, and or, wanting to start or go on your own business or take that leap towards a new job, or somebody who's going through cancer right now at 21 years old, or maybe there's a 10-year-old going through cancer, listening to this and questioning themselves.
Probably not.
Why me?
Yeah.
Like, my aunt and uncle both got cancer at the same time.
Yeah, and
why-
I've sat down and
why us?
we've talked, and
Yeah,
it's because cancer's a thing that's it's everywhere.
They're
Everybody has cancer.
everywhere.
Everybody's gotten cancer.
Yeah.
It's
not if, it's
mainstream
when.
now.
It's not if, it's like, when are you getting it?
Yeah, exactly. And so, it's my thing is, and it's again, like I said, I have a lot of contradictory things that go on in my head that Jekyll and Hyde, like,
That didn't start
something's
till 2 weeks ago.
yeah, like
Yeah.
cancer. I'm not tough, dude. And some people may hate this, but going through cancer's easy. It when you break it down, it's easy. Watching my mom watch me go through cancer, that's fucking hard. I cannot, now being a dad, like I said, everything I kind of do now revolves around my daughter. If my little girl got cancer, I'm broken.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's
my
what I
mom
mean.
came and visited me. My mom sat in the hospital
Every day.
every
Like-
day after my surgery for
Yeah.
2 months. I was bedridden because of the extensive stuff they did. And my mom slept in my hospital room and never left my side and watched her baby go through that.
Yeah, not knowing what the outcome
So
was going to be.
now, perspective, doing the chemo, being sick, easy, easy.
Yeah.
Watching a loved one go through that. Remy got croup, and I like to consider myself a pretty tough guy. I have a great pain threshold.
Yeah, I think you're a tough guy.
I can turn the suck down. Like
Yeah.
Jason, and we've talked about this before. Man, there's just some people I thrive on suck. I don't know why, but like
Yeah.
shitty day, fuck, throw some rain on it. Throw some 130-degree weather on it. I love that situation. Because I
Yeah.
know other people are hurting,
You can look
and
at them
I
and see
know
that
it's
they're
going to
hurting
be.
worse than you.
I'm going to shine because I like it. I don't know why. It's a stupid mentality, but the, doing that, it's just my mom went through fucking hell to watch her child go through that,
Yeah.
and I watched Remy go through croup, and I can't handle that, and her raspy, her cry, and that broke me like a motherfucker.
Which is nothing to watching your son or daughter go through cancer.
Exactly. So like, it's
Yeah.
everybody fight cancer, this and that. That's great, and whatever works for anybody. I don't want to put anybody down. Jason
And you have to
said,
fight it. But now look, if you're going through cancer, look at what it's doing to the people around you. And that's what
"Oh
I say
God,
to people about suicide. Like if you take your life, you should see what it does to the people around you. Like look at the families before you make that decision. Look at the families that went through it. Just take
well
a
done."
moment
Yeah,
and look at the families. Like what you're going through, you know, as much pain as you're in, the pain that it's causing others is astronomical. Like you have to find a reason to find happiness and move forward and be strong again, be unbreakable. But
yeah.
like it's hardest on the families. There is no
Yeah.
absolutely no doubt about it.
As a parent, man, dude, I don't take shit in my life serious. I'm just not that guy. I turn everything into humor. I got a witty remark for everything. That's me. I grain of salt. I don't know why, but that's me. But some real stuff goes down when you have a kid that,
Until it's somebody else, until it's somebody that means the world to you, somebody that you would truly, a lot of people say like, oh, I'd take a bullet for you or I'd take a bullet for you. But like with Remy, without a doubt that you would. That you would take her spot in any situation in any day.
yeah.
And it brings a lot more context to the statement. Yeah, I'd take a bullet for you, because that's not, yeah, Thrill. You can probably hear him up there.
We'll edit that.
Yeah, it's the perks of the bar podcast.
But yeah, you said that perfectly, man. That's, because after all, one of the bigger things in our lives right now is the Hua stuff, and we all stand behind that. Like that's legit.
Yeah.
That's my heart and soul. I feel what's going on there. I love what we're doing, and that's why I spend the time. I endorse it like I do because it's a real thing and it's important. And to think of it like that, like
Yeah.
it's unbreakable. Sometimes is you're able to do it, but outside looking in to how you take other people's things that they do, reactions to it. A loved one being sick and stuff like that. It's one of the things I was reading into has everybody looks at if somebody is born with a disease, it's acceptable that somebody has autism, Down syndrome, something like that. But if somebody has depression that is an actual chemical imbalance or something wrong with an organ, it's super frowned upon.
Yeah, it's like we talked about in the episode that's going to come out here on Monday, because we record these about a week out so that I have time to do all the editing, that I showed you what Tommy's stuff is, that everybody will hear right before this episode, is what he went through with that chemical imbalance and not holding value to it. and that mental health aspect. And
Because it's not acceptable in
yeah,
mainstream yet. Like, but
and
it's
it
okay
needs to
for
be. It's
somebody
a
to
real
be an
thing.
alcoholic because their parents were alcoholic,
Yeah,
and that's tolerated. But somebody that's depressed or has anxiety or something like that is, I guess people don't look at it as an option.
yeah,
A prime example, short little deal. My brother has Tourette's,
yeah,
and I was a shit big brother growing up with it. I was fucking mean. I'm kind of a mean, belligerent person like that, and I was picked on him for it and made fun of him. And my mom all the time getting on me. Hey, he can't help it. It's a nervous tick. He can't do
yeah,
anything about it. I'm like, bullshit. I'm 17. I know everything. And it took me one night to watch him while he was sleeping, and he was still having the nervous ticks, dead sleeping, and
yeah,
still doing the stuff. And it finally hit me. He can't control it. There's something in his brain doing this, and it's not under his control. And that was a huge realization for me to go, you're a piece of shit, Cody. He can't control that. And so now that I'm kind of growing up and I look at people with different issues, obesity,
yeah.
always the guy to go, look at that fat fuck. Now, kind of go back and go, man, I wonder if he has something that,
Doesn't allow
if he
him
has a
to
bad
be.
thyroid problem,
Yeah,
maybe that guy was wounded overseas and got some spinal injury and can't exercise, and or maybe he has depression, or maybe he has this. I don't know. I haven't walked a fucking step in his shoes.
yeah.
So it's
And
kind of a
everybody, the majority of people look down on that person, you
yeah.
know, like especially in today's society where it's, you've got to be this stick figure of a human being almost, or filled with muscles.
They
And
got to look like me. That your typical
yeah,
muscly
yeah, buff as can be. That's why you're
goddamn
wearing a
American
hoodie.
hero.
But people look at them with such, through such negative eyes
Yeah,
that
anything that's different. That
it's
human nature.
yeah, that it's tough. It's got to be, if they didn't have depression, you're almost giving it to them because of so much negativity. And you see that it's got to be one of your concerns now as a father. Like when Remy goes to school, is she going to be bullied? Is she going to be the bully?
God.
What type of
Yeah.
person is she going to be in school? And around people. Like, is she going to be the person that is caring and compassionate to everybody, or is she going to be the exact opposite? And it's scary, and how is she going to get treated when she gets there? Because that can lead to some of those issues where she's going to have to find out herself if she's unbreakable.
And I've had this conversation with myself. Like I said, man, the last 2 weeks has been a mind roller coaster for me. So much stuff I've
Yeah, I'm glad
never
though.
done and
I'm
thought
glad.
about. And like I said, it's weird, but it all revolves around Remy.
Yeah, that's
Like,
awesome. It should. I mean, it
I
should.
can't believe, because I love my friends, I love my family, I love my wife, but god damn, that little kid, just everything. And so, some of the things I thought about before we even had her is what kind of world am I going to bring her into and stuff like that. And then I have a peace with it.
Yeah.
Like, Remy has a really cool mom. Like, Sharon has good core values.
Yeah.
She's a good soul. And I don't think I'm that bad of a guy. I think
No, you're a great dude.
behind my mouth and my cockiness and
You're
my
one of the most
things,
caring fathers. Like you wanted to be a father for so long
yeah,
that there is no way that you, like I said, you would go to the end of the world for her, and I don't mean that lightly. Like that, every word of that.
yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot going on there, but she's gonna turn out all right.
She's gonna turn out great. I have no doubt.
I'm so
And she's
excited.
beautiful. So
And that's a plus. Oh, thank God.
But now
So
she's starting to move. So now it's been like
yeah,
you've got to really exercise those dad skills.
they're
You
getting
know.
there. Like, Sharon and I joke back and forth because she'll like not even be looking, and I'll throw a shit diaper at her, and
Yeah.
bam, mom skills. Like fuck yeah.
It's awesome.
So it's pretty cool as growing as a family because man, it's last time we had a barbecue at my house, we're all sitting there bullshitting about fucking escrow and property tax.
Yeah.
You know, Josh, you and I, and Chris, and we're like talking about this stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck happened to us, man?
Yeah. Life's changed.
Like I still like to have fun, and we do our fun stuff, and
But now we got like Roth IRA, life insurance, like
we're doing podcasts in our friend's basement and
Yeah.
on a Friday night. And I'm like,
instead of pounding shots.
well, we'll do that too. But yeah, like, and self-realization.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'm a lot of things.
Dude, you're better than okay with it. You're happy.
Yeah, I
And
get
that
life,
matters.
Life
And
is
that matters.
good right now.
You know.
Like shit is really good. I'm super happy with my job. I'm super happy with how things are going. I'm happily married.
Yeah.
Fucking being a dad,
Healthy
obviously.
kid. A healthy
kid.
like-
Thank God that I'm not religious, but thank God.
Yeah.
Things are good right now. I'm in a good place.
So then, with that, as we're winding down here and reaching the amount of time that I can afford to upload, you're in a good place right now. But as you've done this self-evaluation, you knew that one of the questions that I was going to ask is what's next? So with looking at your past, you also have to look, forward to the future. What do you want for yourself? What do you want for your family, for Remy? So like, what do you look at, with your definition of unbreakable? What do you look at as what's next in the future of Cody?
I guess you're not going to like this either. What's next? Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, man.
Saturday's next. Sharon gets on me for, oh man, when I do my stupid shit, because I'm a little gimpy, but I like to get out there. When we went kayaking for Sodi's thing, oh god,
Yeah.
she would flip out if she knew about that. Sometimes I just, fuck being cripple. I'm getting after it. I
Yeah.
do my stupid stuff, but I haven't killed myself yet.
You've come
in
close.
a reckless way.
You've come close.
Not in a suicidal way, but
I've picked you up a couple times.
I've made it this far. I haven't failed
Yeah.
in life. I'm not gonna fail. So, I want to start planning for some things, but the way I'm doing things is good.
Dude, it's a perfect.
I'm
that's
happy.
A perfect what's next. I don't know why you wouldn't think I wouldn't like that. I love it
Because it's not a Saturday's next, man. Bottom line,
dude,
it's
how,
tomorrow.
Yeah, it's how I feel about most things, right? One foot in front of the other. Just keep moving forward in life. Things always get better. Like it goes up and down. It goes up and down. As you said, you looked at this the last 2 weeks, and it went up and down and up and down, right? But that to me, and I know it is to you because now you have a beautiful daughter. That up and down is always gradually gone up. So yeah, it's got some big dips, but you come out of those dips higher, stronger, more unbreakable, more caring and compassionate towards others. And so like if you think about that wave, it's only going up. Yeah. But it's all in how you look at where you came from. I think it's that Drake song, right? Or whatever, started at the bottom, now we're here. Right, you got these bottoms. It's probably not Drake. I don't know who it is. I don't really care.
My white friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah. So, but you look at that that trajectory, and you're always going up. So I love that Saturday is next, because it is. And when you get through Saturday, Sunday is next.
Yeah.
And then Monday. And you just keep moving forward and making progress in your life, making things better for your family every day.
Yeah, because those are going to happen no matter what. If I set a mental plan for it, I'm going to do it. I guess, like right now, the only things are my core values, my core things. I will be a good father.
Yeah.
I will be a good husband. I will be a good friend. I'll be a good worker.
And I think great. I think great is a better word than good for you.
Yeah, not every day though.
No, but
Because that's the
overall,
thing. It's
overall,
some days I knock it out of the park. Some days not so much.
yeah.
And I guess it's not accepting, because I feel a lot of people go, you've just accepted that you're not the man you were. No, I guess it is and it's not, but
I
I'm
don't
okay
think
with
so.
that. I'm okay with that.
I think you went down a different path than the path that you were on because you had to, and now you're killing it down the path that you're on.
Yeah. And
You are a great dad. Like,
I hope so. That's
I know you are. I see it, right? I see it. So I know. Just like Sharon's a great mother. Like,
Yeah.
I see that. I get to watch it from the outside and see the level of care that you guys have towards Remy, and that is huge. So there's no doubt that you are a great father. And that's the path that, you know, 2 years ago when the child process started and you guys figured out that you were going to have a child and you began this journey, like, that's a new path. When I get to the point that Chelsea and I have a kid, I'm going to go down a new path, and I'll
I
have to.
can't wait for this Neanderthal motherfucker.
And I'll have to.
Oh man,
Yeah, that unibrow son.
God, it's exciting.
But it's a different path, and you've got to. When you get on that path, whatever path you go on, own that motherfucker. Get on that path and own it.
Yeah.
Right? Don't twinkle toe around the bush or whatever you want to call it. Like, get on the path that's in front of you, because it's there.
Yeah. Set your big
Own
goals
it.
and
Own it and go live it. Right? Your big goal is to make sure Remy is happy.
yeah.
Like, that's your goal. So own it, and you do. And, like, that's what people need to realize. Whatever path they're on and what goal there is, get on that thing and own it and go do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's that simple. I love it, Cody, man. This is a great podcast, son.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I was nervous. So many unfinished stories in there and left off here and there, but
And we're going to come back. You're going to come back on in a month or two, and,
yeah.
and we're going to continue on and hit on some of the areas that we had to miss because I only have so much money. So I can only upload so much.
subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe so we can
Actually,
do more.
you're the salesman. Go ahead. Carry on.
Subscribe
This is
to
your show.
Forever Unbreakable so that we can do longer podcasts someday. But in the meantime, I'm just going to keep bringing people back. So, Cody, if you've got anything else you want to say to everybody quick before we peace out here.
Thanks for having me. And a big shout out to the ladies. Like
Yes.
Steph Soda Pop. The things that woman's going through and the support she shows for him. Chelsea, Sharon, all of our group,
Yeah.
all the women that stand behind us.
Yeah.
God, they're the most unbreakable. Like, not only do they have to deal with their own life and stuff like that, but the stuff we throw on them of, hey, guess what I'm doing this week?
Yeah.
Our impulsiveness, our drives of doing this and that. Like,
Exactly.
Our loved
Baby,
ones.
do you like my new motorcycle?
Yeah. Our loved ones put up with us. And so, to the ladies,
Agreed.
they put in more work than we do. That's for sure.
I agree.
That's it.
Well, thanks for being on, Cody. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in to episode 5. Hope you guys all have a wonderful week. And remember, always stay unbreakable. Thanks, everybody.